What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Andy's History Lessons. This is the very first episode in my World War II series and the very first episode of Sensitive Saturdays, where I talk about sensitive subjects that happen throughout history. And I figured for the very first episode of World War II and for the very first episode of Sensitive Saturdays, I would talk about Nazi Germany. Now, just a heads up, I'm going to talk about the Axis, or the bad guys, first, and then talk about the Allies, or the good guys, later on in the series. Now, here's what a lot of people don't know. Nazi Germany actually started out democratic with the Weimar Republic, which was formed in 1918 after the fall of the Prussian Empire. Adolf Hitler, having come back from fighting World War I, became the leader of the National Socialist Party. And here's another thing. Nazi is short for Nationalsozialistische, meaning National Socialist in German. So yes, 1 year later, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. At the time of the Weimar Republic, there was no money in Germany. They had to pay the $6 billion to France and Britain for reparations, which that bill that they had to pay in war reparations, they did not finish paying it until 2010, 92 years after they were forced to pay it. And then during that time, there was hyperinflation. The economy was completely bankrupt. And the people in Germany at the time, they were starving to death. And those who were not starving to death were prostituting themselves just to make what little bit of money they could make. It was a terrible, terrible time in Germany at that time. And then 1 year later, Adolf Hitler saw the opportunity to wage a coup d'etat, lead a coup d'etat against the Weimar Republic. However, Adolf Hitler's coup d'etat failed, and he was jailed for attempting to overthrow the government of the Weimar Republic. And while Adolf Hitler was in jail, he wrote the infamous novel Mein Kampf, meaning my fight or my struggle in German. And then, fast forward to 1932, the president of the Weimar Republic has died in office, and Adolf Hitler has stepped in and declared himself Chancellor of Germany, thus beginning the German Reich, or as it's known in America, Nazi Germany. Okay, and then in 1936, Adolf Hitler remilitarizes the Rhineland. And at this point, he's created the famous Autobahn. Yes, the Autobahn was made by Hitler and the Nazis before World War II started. And in 1936, he remilitarized the Rhineland. I know I already said that, but I'm going to explain. The Rhineland in the western part of Germany, near the Luxembourgish, French, Belgian, and Netherlandic borders, had become demilitarized as part of the Treaty of Versailles. So once Hitler did that, the French and British leaders were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hitler's breaking the rules of Versailles. This is not good. This could lead to war in future times. And then the German army was not allowed to exceed more than 100,000 troops, and it could not have a navy or air force. So Adolf Hitler ended up drafting 500,000 soldiers into the German army, and he also created the fourth largest navy, fourth to the Italian Navy, which was the third largest navy at the time, and he created the second or third largest air force at the time, known as die Luftwaffe, meaning the air weapons in German. And then in 1938, Adolf Hitler began the Anschluss of Austria, which is where Hitler met with the leader of Austria at the time and discussed a treaty that would allow Germany to annex Austria. Austria was in a political crisis, same as Germany was during the days of the Weimar Republic, and so the leader of Austria signed the treaty with Hitler and Austria became part of Nazi Germany. And then in that same year, in 1938, in April or May of 1938, Adolf Hitler asked the leader of Czechoslovakia for die Sudetenland. The Sudetenland was the western part of Czechoslovakia near the German border, which contained a large German minority in that area. So Adolf Hitler basically said, well, since most of the people living here are German or German speaking, this is German land. So then this became known as the Sudetenland crisis or the Sudeten crisis. So that's why Hitler wanted the Sudetenland, was because of the German minority in that area. And then began the Munich Agreement, where Nazi Germany gained the Sudetenland after Neville Chamberlain, leader of the United Kingdom at the time, agreed to the terms and conditions of the treaty. And then, later on, Adolf Hitler annexed all of Czechoslovakia. So the western half of Czechoslovakia, the Czech half, went to Nazi Germany, and the Slovak half, the eastern half, became a Nazi puppet state to Nazi Germany. And here's an interesting little factoid. Interpol, the International Police Headquarters, was established in 1938 in the city of Lyon, France, after the Munich Agreement in 1938. 80 years Interpol has been around. That is just amazing. You would think they would have died off with the Cold War, but no, they're still around. And then in 1939, Adolf Hitler asked Poland for the city of Danzig, or as is known in Poland and still today, Gdansk. So after asking for Gdansk from Poland, Poland refused. Then Hitler decided to turn his priorities elsewhere. But then on September 1st, 1939, Adolf Hitler began the invasion of Poland and the siege of Warsaw, and this ultimately led to World War II. One piece I left out, bear with me. In 1938, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was signed. It was signed by Joachim von Ribbentrop and Molotov, who signed it for the Russians, and Joachim von Ribbentrop for the Germans. Sorry. Yeah. And this would basically say that the Soviets and the Nazis would not fight each other, even though Hitler said that communism was National Socialism's biggest enemy. And after Warsaw fell to the Nazis, then began the division of Poland, which is where Poland was divided between the western half going to Nazi Germany and the eastern half going to the Soviet Union, along with all three Baltic states, which are Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. Okay, this is it. That's it. That concludes the very first episode of Sensitive Saturdays. Remember to like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of the next time I make a video or do a post or anything related to my channel. Peace out and rock on!